Hello, this is Mara Jade, and I'm here with another video, and normally I record my videos on Tuesdays and upload them the same day, but because I'm starting my observation field placement work for my master's degree in teaching secondary education tomorrow, I did not think I would have time prior to my evening class, so I'm recording this tonight, Monday evening, and uploading it the next day, which would be Tuesday for you all. And this article I saw today on Twitter, thanks to some of my friends, and it was just begging to be torn to fucking shreds. Oh my fucking god, CBR.com. How fucking moronic are you? Hollywood still won't let female superheroes exist in the present. How in the fucking hell have you existed for so long as a supposed comic book resource site? Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, present in Batman vs. Superman and Justice League. Present. Even Linda Carter, when her TV series aired, it was present day at the time it was airing. Black Widow, present day. Batwoman, present day. The X-Men movies, present day. And I'm talking about the Bryan Singer ones from the early 90s, present day. Pick a CW show, present day. Where are you getting your this fucking notion that they only exist in the past? What? The only way that they do that is an origin story, and every hero, male or female, gets one. Oh my fucking god. Let's get into this bullshit, shall we? I hate this site. The politics of producing, advertising, and creating films centered on female superheroes is not a new topic. Well, no fucking shit. Every time a solo-led female superhero film gets released, fans, quote-unquote fans, are quick to pass judgment on the film, speculating that it could be anywhere from the best things in sliced bread or the worst thing to happen to superhero franchise. Every fucking comic book movie goes through that. It doesn't fucking matter if it's a male superhero or a female superhero. We're judging based on the trailer, we're judging based on the plot, we're judging based on the actors or actresses cast for the roles. That's it. Gender does not at all come into play. At all. But you like to run with this bullshit sociopolitical narrative. Even before the release of Captain Marvel, fans were rating Rotten Tomatoes and intentionally giving it a low rating, leaving it with a whopping 45% audience score compared to the critics' score of 78%. No, what was actually happening was the want to see score was plummeting. Everyone and their extended family and whatever sister, brother, cousin they had was clicking the do not fucking want to see button, and Rotten Tomatoes removed that. Coincidentally, before a shareholders meeting with Disney, and coincidentally, the person running Rotten Tomatoes used to be working for Disney. How stupid do you think we are? Even DC's Wonder Woman faced pre-release criticism. But you know what? People went to go see that film. It didn't claw its way to whatever money it made. People went to go see it, and they liked it. And you know, one of the reasons why they went to go see it is because the studio, namely Gal Gadot and Patty Jenkins, didn't shit on the fans who were criticizing the film, who were criticizing the trailer, I should say. And saying, we don't know if Gal Gadot is a good Wonder Woman, but we went to go see the film anyway, because we weren't shit on. And guess what? Most of us love the film. It's one of the top films. If you were to ask a DC fan of the current crop of DC films, most would say they love it. You ask most people about the Captain Marvel film, they'll go, what? Oh yeah, what was the plot about that? Director James Cameron argued that the film wasn't as groundbreaking as critics claimed since Gal Gadot was Miss Israel. Why does that fucking matter? And she was wearing a kind of bustier costume that was very form-fitting. Stop fucking white knighting, James Cameron. It doesn't matter if she was Miss Israel. It doesn't matter if she was wearing a form-fitting outfit. It doesn't fucking matter. She killed it in the role. It's no secret that the pop culture and superhero fan communities have become overwhelmingly toxic. But when a new female superhero emerges into the pop culture scene, suddenly it's all hands on deck for fans to criticize or even bully content creators. Fuck you, CBR.com. As well as fuck you for using the word toxic, because you are solely focusing, when you use that word, on the male demographic in fandoms. for women such as myself and others, if we criticize the same criticisms, you either accuse us of having internalized misogyny, or accuse us of seeking male approval, or just flat out fucking ignore us. As you're doing here. Female-led superhero movies are far and few between, with the only female-led films in the current DC and Marvel Cinematic Universes being Wonder Woman, Captain Marvel, and now Black Widow and Birds of Prey. Wonder Woman came first, and Captain Marvel was the MCU's weak attempt at addressing, or at least achieving that same outcome with Wonder Woman. Black Widow should have come before Captain Marvel, and Birds of Prey was not Birds of Prey. It was Birds of Prey in name only. While the MCU doesn't have a shortage of female characters, it does have a not-so-great track record with how it treats women. In Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, the MCU killed off, most notably, both Gamora and Black Widow for the recurring trope of man pain. So, what if the man were killed? Would that be woman pain? It's human pain. It's human emotion. If you lose someone you care about, who the fuck cares if it's a man losing a woman or a woman losing a man? The human emotion is there. But you center it solely on your sexist agenda. And yes, you are the fucking sexist ones. Most spectacularly, however, is that all of these female-led superhero films have two things in common. The narrative revolves around women, and the narratives of each film, with the exception of Birds of Prey, exist within the past. Bull fucking shit. Look at the intro to my video. So why are most women-led superhero films constantly placed in a past setting? As has been previously suggested, the emotions elicited by nostalgia may be to blame for this almost trope-like execution, as well as the idea that it's easier to showcase sexism when dealing with it in the past. Fuck you. Which, in of itself, is a problem. Sure, it's easier to showcase a room full of men wondering why Diana Prince is speaking up when she's the only one who knows both Ottoman and Sumerian. No, they, were wondering why a woman was in a top-secret military meeting. Okay, granted, it was set during World War I, and yes, it was a predominantly male-dominated society, but when you have anyone coming in to a top-secret military meeting who is not privy to the information, they're going to say, what the fuck is that person doing here? Garen fucking Teed, and this is from a veteran talking. Didn't matter that she was a woman. You just want to highlight that fact. But that would have happened in any way if it had been a male character coming in. But having sexism occur in superhero period pieces also gives younger audiences the idea that sexism and misogyny is a thing of the past when it truly isn't. I cannot say this as often as necessary, but fuck you. Which is what makes a similar scene in Captain Marvel ever so important, because it shows us that badass women aren't immune from the standard misogynistic micro and macroaggressions they face in their day-to-day lives. Micro and macroaggressions are made up fucking terms by social justice warriors to perpetually stay pissed off at the world. That's it. There is nothing legitimate about those words. At all. While nostalgia is an important factor for theorizing and criticizing why period women superhero films get made, another reason is this notion that a woman is a mystery that must be solved. What the fuck? It's an origin film! Wonder Woman and Black Widow aren't the only films that discuss a superhero's origin story. You fucking negated your point right there! We see that with Captain America the First Avenger, Iron Man, Thor, and the Incredible Hulk. Each of these films discusses their titular heroes' origin stories as well as the women that make them tick. So what's the difference between these films and female-led ones? Well, enlighten me, fuckers. In the all-boys club that is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the blockbuster origin films discuss the sacrifices and the moves that the man made to get to where they are in their present-day superhero careers. Wonder Woman does the same thing and positions itself within World War I instead of World War II, as Captain America the First Avenger did. Captain Marvel, however, positions itself in the 90s, a decade that is experiencing a resurgence in our current cultural climate, which is most likely the reason why Captain Marvel's production team placed the film within that context. So basically, you're saying that sexism and misogyny are still as rampant today as they were in the 90s, and the fact that you are just going off the film, I would imagine, tells me that you have no fucking idea at all of the history of the military. So fuck you, CBR.com. This makes Captain Marvel's feminism and critique of toxic masculinity, fuck you, using that term, a bit more relatable for women watching the film in 2019 and 2020. The microaggressions, stop using that fucking word. Carol faces in the film are placed in a time period that mirrors our current socio-political climate, which makes her battles with gross misogyny and sexism all the more relatable for women audiences now. The fact that you are generalizing women like that, you are fucking sexist. I hate this site so much. However, the fact that women-led superhero films keeps getting put in the past setting is problematic. They're problematic. Problematic. I love that fucking word. Simply because it doesn't allow women superheroes to exist in the present day on their own. Fuck you! Setting women within these past narratives implies that these superheroes aren't part of our current world, or that when they are, they exist to help the men. Wonder Woman fucking saved Batman and Superman in Batman vs. Superman. Did you fucking miss that scene? Which is obvious that from that scene in Endgame. Treating women as accessories sidelined to help further the plots of men is problematic, because it shelves so many incredible characters that have so much potential but are relegated to toxic tropes. Like the femme fatale, fuck you. The damsel in distress, fuck you. The manic pixie dream girl, fuck you. The broken bird, fuck you, and more. Now with the production of Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff in her very own solo superhero movie, the issue of the mysterious femme fatale arises once again. Ever since Black Widow made her first MCU appearance in Iron Man 2, she has been treated as an enigmatic assistant to the more powerful and distinguished men of the superhero squad, and less of a powerful character within her own right. Well, that's how her character was set up. She was a mystery. So we had to figure out who she actually was, and then it was revealed, hey, she's a fucking badass assassin. With the latest Black Widow trailer, fans are left with more questions than the answers again. Marvel makes it clear that Florence Pugh's character, I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly, but I don't really care at this point, Yelena, was once someone Black Widow considered family, yet has never mentioned Yelena to the Avengers or her closest friends and allies, including Hawkeye. In the Avengers, the question percolating audiences' minds was her past with Budapest. In a throwaway remark, she passes off to Hawkeye. In the Winter Soldier, Black Widow reveals that she can outsmart an AI programmed by Arnim Zola, anticipate and counteract the Winter Soldier's fighting moves, and she can easily blend into populated spaces like a mall, which is showcased against Captain America's hyper-aware military training. Well, you can really more or less chalk that up to lazy writing, if you were actually think about it. Formulaic writing that just places her in convenient positions, convenient knowledge, convenient everything, without really further exploring the character. That goes for the same for the male characters as well. Lazy writing, lazy formulaic writing. In every single film that Black Widow has been featured in within the MCU, her abilities are murky, her past is only ever alluded to, and the red in her ledger is merely a throwaway phrase about her past. Well, her past is supposed to remain a mystery because she's an assassin, so she's not exactly going to reveal everything about her past, even to her allies. Audiences were unable to form an emotional connection to Black Widow, so that when she finally dies in Endgame, lazy writing really is what it is. Her sacrifice rings hollow, barely acknowledged by the people she considered family, and is eclipsed by Iron Man's death. That was just stupid. I didn't see the movie, but I read the spoilers, and that was just fucking stupid. It didn't make any sense whatsoever. One might think that the Black Widow movie that will hit theaters in May 2020 is too little too late for the character. A lot of people do, because she should have come out before Captain Marvel. Especially now since Natasha's Black Widow can't return to the silver screen in the present-day MCU again. Well, blame that on the fucking writers. Even if more Black Widow movies follow this one, she will forever be relegated to the past. Again, blame the fucking MCU writers. They didn't have to do that. DC, on the other hand, offers viewers women-led films in the way of Birds of Prey and Wonder Woman. While Wonder Woman is frustrating with its decision to remain in the 20th century instead of the 21st, it's origin stories for Diana. She is in the present day in Batman vs. Superman and Justice League. And she's going to continue being in the present day because she's still fucking alive. So as not to explore her character in a more contemporary cultural context, you fucking assholes. Having Wonder Woman fight in the 80s and Wonder Woman 1984 still reaffirms the notion that Diana Prince, both as Wonder Woman and just as herself, is a mysterious woman, and in order to solve that mystery, her story needs to remain in the past. Well, we know her origin at this point, so it's not exactly her remaining a mystery. It's not. It's still part of her origin story. So who fucking cares when the film is set? Ultimately, it doesn't seem as if Marvel or DC will be releasing a woman-led film in the present day anytime soon, which is disappointing, since there is a shocking lack of female characters for young girls and young women to look up to. Stop relegating us to what's between our legs, please. You don't look up to a character based on those superficial qualities. You don't look up to a character because he or she shares the same skin color as you. You don't look up to a character because he or she is the same gender as you. And you sure as hell don't look up to any character if they're the same sexuality as you are. You look up to the character because the personality, the hopes, dreams, motivations, fears, strengths, weaknesses resonate within you. That's what makes you look up to a character. It doesn't matter if it's a male or female. So stop saying that because you have a girl or a woman who's going to a superhero film that they cannot relate to a male character. Because you are relegating them to what's between their legs. Having characters that exist in the current sociocultural climate is important because it provides a bridge from the superhero world to reality. Fantasy. Fucking fantasy. Learn that word. A reality in which audiences could sorely use some empowering contemporary figures. I hate the use of the word empowering. I've really come to hate that. Alright. That is the end of this bull fucking shit article. Oh my fucking god. It's this bullshit. Again, I hate giving this side clicks, but I saw this on Twitter. I saw this tweeted out by some of my friends, and I was like, oh my fucking god, this deserves to be torn to fucking shreds. But anyway, I'm not going to go further into this article because, dear fucking god, I have a headache. I've had a long day, so let me know down in the comments, what do you think of this article? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? If you like this video, leave a thumbs up. Share it on social media if you will. I'm going to now pass out on my bed because I am so fucking tired. I will upload this video in the afternoon my time tomorrow, or at least have it scheduled to upload afternoon my time tomorrow, and holy fucking shit. I'm gonna leave you on that note. Until then, this is Mara Jade. Catch you on the dark side. Later.